Hi, it's the 22nd of October 2023. Banks create money. Now, following on from my previous video on the bonds, which was 15 minutes, I'll just deal with this, should be shorter, how money is created. And I've been asked this by many people, and here at present is how the most of money is created. There's a set amount of money. The banks have the authority to lend. Years ago, it used to be a fractional reserve that had to keep a certain amount of their deposits as collateral. They couldn't let it all out, usually 90% of it. That's kind of gone now in most cases, and what there is the present system. When somebody goes into a bank and he says he wants to set up a factory building boats. Now, I picked that as a good example because there isn't a huge margin, a big demand for rowing boats and boats of all kinds. There's a certain amount, but it's not huge. He's going to set up a factory anyway building boats, and there was a factory in County Monaghan one time building those medium-sized boats, like ocean-going boats with cabins on them and all that. And there's still a place down in Lough Sheelan that creates fishing boats. So he's going to set up boats, and he's going to do the devil and all, as my father would say, and he wants the money, and the bank decides to give him 200,000 to start, and they agree on the rate, and they will have to get above the bond rate, because if the bond rate in America or London or EU or Ireland is 5%, as I've said in the earlier video, if there's 5%, they're not going to give him the money at 5%, they're going to want 6 or 7. Do you understand that interest? So the amount of interest he will pay will depend on the bond rate. Now, fixed interest loans are a thing that are often used, and that's where you fix into a loan, and anyone that did that in about 2020 were locked in at a certain rate. But usually those loans will extend the term to get the money out of you at the end of the loan. But if you get a fixed interest rate, we say back at 2023, that would be good. And I should have dealt with that earlier. That's a mistake of mine not to advise people about that who are taking out mortgages, but then you mightn't get that rate. Now, do you understand? They're going to give this fella, we'll call him Joe Soap, they're going to give him the 200,000 of a loan. They create that money out of nothing. There is nothing whatsoever behind that money. It's put into a computer, and he gets his account credited with 200,000 euros, and he gets a big heap of paper all about what he has to do, and he's expected to start paying back. They might give him a year's grace to get him up and going. That all depends, and those who have the money in the bank expect him to perform. Now, how many people, and mainly men, did I hear over the years given out with the banks? The banks is no good. I wanted a few bob. Well, if they gave money to some of the bios I know, they'd never get it back. They're full of nonsense. Some of them wouldn't get out of the bed. Some of them would go mad down the town drinking porter. And this is the kind of a problem bank people have. And the local bankman was a good idea in a way, because he could see who was who in the community. But anyway, that's another stage. So they create the money out of nothing, and they give him the 200,000 euros in his account, and off he goes. As he pays back, it's the interest in the beginning, and the way he pays the interest. So he pays the most of the interest in the beginning, and as he gets on, then he starts paying some of the principal. So at halfway, he should have half the principal paid, half the interest paid, more than half the interest paid, but he'll have some of the principal. So essentially, what the banks want, they want to grab the interest first. Get the interest here, get it in. Only leave a little till the end. Because if he goes bottom up and they are suing him, it's easier to sue for the principal. This is the money he owes. If you're going to sue him for the interest, there can be other figaries and other delays and everything like that, and they want to get their interest in. That's how they make their money. Remember, as he pays back the principal, as he pays it back, that money is killed. They created it out of nothing. Here is their, we'd say here is their balance sheet. So the balance sheet is like the bottom of this piece of paper here, right? So when they print this 200,000, their balance sheet, you'll hear that mentioned, goes up. So they will have, instead of having 25 trillion euros here, they'll have 25 trillion plus 200,000 here. their balance sheet increases. And as he starts paying back the principal, that's killed. And the idea is to end up with back to where you were with the 200,000 taken out. The only thing the banks then have is the interest. That's what they made their money on. And because the interest is got from him selling his boats and rooting about like that and selling things and enterprise, that's real money. So that's money he made and he given it to them to get him started. So the amount of overall money does not rise because the interest they get is from his real activities and it's real money earned. Whereas the principal was created out of nothing, it was given him to get him going. He went through the full cycle, whatever term it was, and at the end of it, he has all paid. He has the interest paid, and he has the principal paid, and that 200,000 is taken off the balance sheet. And the balance sheet, which was this to start, see, now it's up to the top of the paper, right? You see, and now it's down again to this again. You see, it's been up, down, and up. I'll just draw it here for you. So a balance sheet is a statement of how you stand financially on a given day at usually 12 o'clock at night on the 1st of January. So this is their balance sheet. The bottom line here is what money they had. There was in the whole economy, including the bank's economy, what money there was. They add 200 grand to it, and that's seen as temporary, and as your man pays it back, they take it away again and they're back to square one. You get the point? That's the principle. Whereas the interest is kept because it's earned money and they claim that's earned money, that's fair play, we get that, that's how we survive. You understand? Now, have I explained that? That is the current way that banks create money out of nothing. Whether it's right or wrong, I won't tell you. I have a funny feeling I could come up with a better system, and I don't know. My job here is to bring this to your attention so you are very, very smart people, and then you'll go out and you can tell others about this, and then you'll look smart, and then you can begin to tell them about some of the way we're being fooled. That's another day's work. But if you want to show people that somebody else is fooling them, you have to show you're not a fool yourself. So I've made two videos there now, one on the creation of money, and I made one on the bond market. They're not really political. I haven't criticized anyone really that much in them. They're just information videos for everyone, and pass them around. I hope it does you some good and you learn a bit. When you're reading the paper or you're hearing the news, you'll be able to compare what you're hearing to what the real situation is. All of this data is available online. The price of bonds, the yields, the yield curve, all of that's available online, and it helps you to keep abreast with what is important. As an old man once told me, an old cattle jobber, and we're talking about countries all over the place, and I was away somewhere on holidays with friends of mine, way out the Middle East, and he came back anyway, and what's it like out there? Very hot today, very hot. I'll bet you they know the value of a pound. What he meant was, they know the value of money. Money is just as important there as it is here in Ireland. That's the point he made. And he says everybody knows the value of a pound. And I knew another cattle dealer who died recently used to say, money speaks all languages. And that's another day's work. So I'm not say that's the case, but it is important to try and understand what's going on. I hate the idea that there should be a big elite out there who know all of this stuff and we, the ordinary people, don't. If people want to be ignorant, that's their business, but it's nice to know that we can enlighten others, and that's reliable. That is how banks create money. That's how it works, and that's how it is for a long time. It was different a while years ago. They had a thing called a fractional reserve. They had a certain amount in reserve, and that was seen that as it was retarding lending. You see, that was seen as retarding lending. Okay, we'll go on that, folks. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you can find any fault in how I presented this and how I informed you, definitely say so. I won't be in the least bit offended. And if you think it made a good job, or you have a suggestion on how to improve. Some people say they can't hear me. I don't like shouting too loud either. Like I need to get a certain level. It's me camera, and that's getting a bit, it's going around in my pocket and it picks up dust and all that. So that's it. Okay. Thank you very much. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'll see you back for something else.